weekend, so it is like super still dreary and raining outside, but I wanted to make a video. I've been getting like an occasional request for it, and I thought, like, why not? I normally never make like show and tell type videos, so I thought I could make one about something like I feel lighthearted about, and it is stick and pokes. So this is going to be an episode for the public record series, all about my stick and pokes, how I feel about them, and the ones that I have. So quickly, if you don't know, a stick and poke is a tattoo that you normally give at your house or your friend's house by using ink and needle that you have available to you in kind of like an unprofessional setting. There are stick and poke artists who I feel like are different than what I'm talking about, so this is the de-associated version with the stick and poke artists who can create hand-poked, beautiful art. I usually associate that with the word hand-poked and not stick and poke, which I associate with like punk rock and things of that nature, so this is about that. I have a couple of stick and poke tattoos. I have nothing against them, and I know that sounds kind of weird because I have professional tattoos and I recommend to get professional tattoos and stuff like that, but I like stick and pokes. Stick and pokes are great. The ones I have were like given to me by friends, like spur of the moment, together, and that's just how I feel. I do have a stick and poke I gave myself, and I have a tattoo that I touched up myself, and it's a little crazy, but I also feel like it's kind of just a part of the culture, and having tattoos and letting your friends give you tattoos. And yes, your friends may be tattoo artists and that's how they give you your tattoo, but some of my tattoos are just like from my friends. And it's great because my friends are artistic and intelligent and imaginative people, and I like to celebrate that. One of my favorite stick and poke tattoos, one of my actual biggest, is from my friend Alex. We've been friends for a couple years. We met through Tumblr, and I really don't get to see her enough. There was a time where she spent a couple days with me at my old house in West Philly, and we were just in for the night, and she gave me a hand poke tattoo, and it was super cool. I still have like the little, hold on a second. I even kept her little stencil that she created my tattoo with that may or may not be blood, but it was cool because you can see where she poked the design through, and I love it. I've always kept this. I think it just reminds me of like friendship and good times, and yeah, I really don't have an issue with stick and pokes. I honestly have them, and I don't think all my tattoos like have to be perfect or have to be manicured or professionally done. I like the idea of hand poke tattoos and stick and poke tattoos so much. So I also have a beehive tattoo. I gave that to myself right in the beginning of becoming vegan. And it doesn't really have to do with being vegan. I always wanted a milk and honey tattoo because milk and honey, if you ever heard those words together, they kind of represent prosperity, because if you're a person who has milk and honey, then it's kind of like you're well fed. I always like the idea of that. Like when I gave myself that tattoo, I was working at McDonald's, and I feel like I was working every single day. And whenever it was payday, I felt like I felt like a young money millionaire. Like I felt like prosperity had come to me and my hard work had paid off. And even though I never loved working at McDonald's, it never fulfilled me. It was my hard work and getting up in the morning and stuff that like all came together on payday. And I always felt that like that milk and honey kind of feeling, like it was hard until today. And then on payday, you go out to eat, you get yourself something good, like you get a milkshake, I don't know, you biggie size it, whatever. Like payday meant everything. And that's what, when I was living paycheck to paycheck, it just meant something to me. And, you know, you turn vegan and you can't get a milk and honey tattoo. So I got a beehive, and I can kind of twist it any way I want, but that's where it came from, and I love it. Recently I thought about getting it touched up, and then I kind of like didn't pursue it because I really like it, and I like that it's raw and whatever, and I did it, and it doesn't have dimension, it's just the... I remember 2 summers ago, I used to work at as a lifeguard at like a kayak rental, and I worked all summer with this kid, Zach, who was like a geologist, but worked at as a lifeguard, and we spent a lot of time together, like quiet on the dock, and one day he was just like, I know you don't want to hear it because you have all these expensive tattoos, but my favorite tattoo of yours is that one, and it was the beehive, and he was like, I just love that, and I might be the only person to tell you that, but that's my favorite tattoo. And I thought that that was so cool, because he's like the only person who's ever said that, but he's completely right, and he thought he was offending me, but I was like, hell yeah. So I have that. I also said that I touched up one of my tattoos. I have this tattoo on my hand, and the symbol means lawlessness, like not lawless or like without law or like cowboy. It means the whole lawlessness. And Joanna Newsom has a song where she goes, lawlessness, lawlessness. And I love it. I love Joanna, and I always felt like I related to that, because I was like, yeah, lawless, like me too, like make money and live on the cusp and live in West Philly and you have a garden in your yard and you eat from it, and I just felt like I related to that kind of idea. So I have this tattoo, and I mean, it's faded now, and I won't touch it up again, but that's why I have that tattoo, that's why it's there. And when people see it quick, they're like, is that an axe? Like, what is that? Why do you have that? And I'm like, it means lawlessness. And they're like, what are you? That's what it is, and that's how I feel about it. And it reminds me of Joanna, and it reminds me of just like living on my own and getting what I need to get done and whatever, and living like that. So my other stick and poke that I have is on my knee. You've probably seen it. I'll show y'all. And this is an XO tattoo, and I actually got this tattoo back when I was still living in my hometown, and it felt like everyone was moving away. And that kind of happens to, I feel like, a lot of us when people turn 18, 19 and they need to decide, like, am I getting out of where I grew up, or am I staying here and like putting down roots? And I was moved back in with my parents, as I've explained in a lot of videos, and I felt like everybody who was gone, and everyone who stayed was stayed. And it was just a time in my life where it was like, where did half of my friends go? And the other half that's still here, what are they doing for me? And I know that's kind of selfish to think, but it's really true. Like, you have to surround yourself with people who are going to inspire you and pick you up, and they're going to help you when you're down, and they're going to tell you when you're fucking up and when you're living in your parents' attic for a year. Like, I wanted to be around people who would tell me, like, you're wrong, or they would inspire me. But all the people who do that usually leave. So I was in this weird space where, like, my friends were leaving, and I had left and came back, and that's when I got the XO tattoo. And people are like, is that an Elliott Smith tattoo? And I'm like, yeah, girl, it is. Totally is. And halfway, yeah, sure, it can be an Elliott Smith tattoo. I love that idea. But this was just like a simple symbol, and I mean, I feel like you write hugs and kisses at the end of letters, unless you're a badass bitch, and then you put it in your screen name. But for me, it was like nostalgic, and it kind of was like a signature, like the end of your letter, like best regards. And I was still at home and not going forward, and everyone else was leaving, and I had just come back. That's why I have that tattoo. And I hate to be like sappy, like, what's your tattoo mean? Have a seat, I'll tell you for 20 minutes. But like I said, you get stick and pokes in the moment, and that's why I really like them. And I advocate being clean, don't share your needles and whatever, and I don't know, don't double dip and all that stuff, but like, have fun. I have no problem with stick and pokes, I'll never tell you. And yeah, those are my stick and poke tattoos, unless I forgot one, which I feel like I did. But yeah, like, John has stick and pokes, and I meet my friends, I feel like I meet people with stick and pokes all the time. Sometimes I meet people who only have stick and pokes, and I think that's great. So this is my show and tell public record stick and poke episode. I hope you felt it. I felt it. I love them. I don't want to get them covered, and I don't want to get them touched up, and I think that they're great and beautiful. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hashtag Quickn if you want to hit me up on Instagram, Quietcoolkid, all that stuff. And I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning into public record and giving me all your support. If there's anything you want to see, let me know on Snapchat or whatever, and bye.